Hi, I'm Soren, and I'm getting a baby. Making one. My wife is making one. My wife is pregnant with a baby, we think. It's just I had this dream where she gave birth to a bunch of kittens instead, and it was just horrifying. Probably doesn't mean anything. Anyway, throughout her pregnancy, I've been reading a lot of books on the subject, and I noticed that all of them share a common theme. They're terrible. Every single one of them is written in the same cutesy, cloying voice, spewing half-truths that generally paint pregnancy as an enchanting and beautiful adventure, like riding bikes across Ireland. And while I agree, the process is magical, it's really more of a dark magic. Even aside from all of the unique and surprising parallels between pregnancy and, say, a witch's curse, there's also a whole casserole of visceral terrors happening in the uterus that are, for reasons I don't understand, shrouded in secrecy. So in the interest of knowledge, I'd like to make a few amendments to the pregnancy books I've read. Please know that I'm not doing this to scare anyone, but to raise each of you up, because we all come from the same place, and make no mistake about it. Being a baby in the uterus is more metal than anything you will ever do in the rest of your life. Here's why. Number 1, books like What to Expect When You're Expecting give you a helpful diagram of what a fetus looks like at each month. Even if you haven't read the books, you've probably seen these illustrations, and regardless of the stage of development, you'll always see the same cute little nose, little mouth, just the face of a newborn. But here's the thing. The majority of those pictures are perpetuating one very literal bald-faced lie. Thanks to 3D imagery, you can actually see what a baby looks like in the uterus. Oh! Shit. I knew it was coming, and it still got me. That cute little face you're accustomed to seeing doesn't actually have any fat on it for the first 23 weeks. So it's really just skin draped over a skull. Why the books opted to pass on an extraordinary opportunity to draw tiny Skeletors in the bellies of moms, rattling their umbilical cords like a scepter? I don't know. And as for that cute fleshy body, well, it's actually transparent throughout the first half of the pregnancy. So it's essentially just like one of those see-through fish where all the guts are just right on display. And speaking of guts, number 2, if you've ever seen an ultrasound, you probably noticed that the baby's stomach is full. Weird, right? Considering that when they're born, a bunch of snack wrappers and soda cans don't come pouring out too. That's because the baby's stomach is filled with his own urine, which he will drink and then pee out again and then drink again for months. In fact, the amniotic fluid in which a fetus floats is really just a nice way of saying baby piss. And the baby isn't actually getting any nutrients from that pee. He's only practicing how to swallow and also expanding his stomach in the most disturbing way imaginable. Well, the second most disturbing. Number 3. At about 5 months, each fetus develops lanugo all over its body, which is essentially just a tiny fur coat to keep her warm over the long womb winter. Then, just like you, at the end of 3 months, she takes that coat off and eats all that hair. In fact, just about every baby's first bowel movement, sometimes while still in the womb, is just a result of eating a whole body's worth of human hair. And if the baby does poop in utero, then yes, your assumptions are correct. Right back down the old gullet until the day your water breaks and your baby finally escapes the 8th circle of hell. Number 4, they cry. They cry a lot. Now you may be asking, with a perpetual mouthful of piss and hair, how could a baby cry in there? To which I would say, stop rapping, first of all. Just ask a question like an adult. And second, it's not the same kind of crying we're accustomed to. A baby's lungs are still filled with fluid, so he's not actually making any noise. But thanks to ultrasound technology, we know that by the 28th week, his little chin quivers, his tongue depresses, all followed by these irregular gasps as he wails in complete silence.
This is immediately followed by 3 augmented breaths with chin quiver and head tilt.
All the same motions without any breath, just crying in there, and there's nothing you can do about it. But Soren, you might be thinking, how do you know for sure that that's a cry? Babies practice faces. Maybe he's giving this a try. Just cut it out. I don't know what kind of little game you're playing, but I'd like you to take this a little more seriously for me. Also, it's not the same thing at all. That baby in the test you just saw only responded to crying after they scared her with a loud auditory stimulus. Or in human speak, they scared the shit out of that little sleeping girl with a loud noise and then she cried. Because unhappiness is just instinctual. It's everything else that has to be learned. Chapter 4 of my new pregnancy book. Great, now you're pregnant. The good news, of course, in all of this is that you don't actually remember any of it, and neither will your child. It's only gross and sad now that it's happening right in front of you. So if you think you can get past all the weird details, then trust me, the prize at the end is totally worth it. A chance to live vicariously through your own sex trophy. Or if that all sounds like too much, maybe look into bike tours in Ireland. Hi, thank you for watching that video on the horrors of being in utero. I concentrated on that instead of the actual horrors that happen to women during pregnancy because I didn't feel well equipped to discuss that. But if you have any horror stories about your gums bleeding or your hair falling out or your limbs swelling to twice their size when you're pregnant, please put them in the comments. I'm sure everyone else would be horrified to know.